This is the villain of the new adult Aang animated Avatar The Last Airbender movie. Just by looking at him, I'm sure you guys are noticing many different things here. You know, besides his really strange haircut, you'll see he has these markings across his forehead, arms, wherever else they may be. To state the obvious, these are clearly air nomad / airbender markings. When you take a look at Aang's, Janora's, and you compare them, they clearly don't look as modern as theirs, but they also don't look as old as the ancient airbenders from 10,000 years ago. They seem to be from somewhere in between the two eras, which I know that is a long period of time, but it's still worth pointing out. There are a ton of theories going around about who this guy is, why Aang is going to be fighting him, and there are even people out there getting upset at the choice to even have an airbending villain in general, since it feels like they're retreading old ground because that's what they did in season 3 of The Legend of Korra with Zahir. I definitely have an unpopular opinion when it comes to this topic, and I actually have a lot to say. The decision to have an airbending villain actually makes complete sense to me, and it might have been the only way to actually raise the stakes of the story in a movie-worthy way. We're gonna get to what I mean later on in the video. The post-war Aang era is a tough era to tell a story in. I know, we have the comics, which some people love, some people hate, and let's just be honest with ourselves. The pressure of making a niche comic is completely different than bringing back Aang in a high-budget animated feature after 20 years. That is just a completely different level of expectation. It's always been clear listening to the creators talk about their work and what they've done. They've never really intended on bringing Aang back. They've always said they've loved Avatar, they're content with the story they told, and they just want to move on to new and original stories. And that makes sense because Avatar ended on such a high note. Ozai, the most powerful firebender in the Avatar universe, who was slowly taking over the entire world, had been defeated. Aang achieved what most people thought was impossible. So now, 20 years later, you're going to bring him back. You don't want the stakes to go from world-ending Fire Lord Ozai to just some guy, right? Like, this can't be some guy. At this point, Aang is 24. He's done it all. He's a seasoned Avatar. He's going to be able to see through any normal villain's deception almost instantly. So how do we get around that? You make the villain someone Aang would never suspect to be a villain. You make him an airbender. And not just some random descendant who figured out they could airbend, but I mean a real air nomad. Someone who grew up in the culture, someone who was raised in the temples, someone who, on the surface, is just like Aang. Aang has this idealized view of the air nomads that he tries so hard to uphold, to the point where everyone in the series, including Avatar Yang Chan, told Aang he needed to kill Fire Lord Ozai, but he refused. So what's going to happen when Aang finally meets another living, breathing air nomad who happens to be evil? Will Aang be able to see through his deception? How is he going to react when he finds out the guy is evil? Is he going to be able to accept it? If it comes to it, will he be able to take away his bending and erase some of the hope he had for restoring his people? Or worse, what if he has to end him? I think that's exactly what makes this movie so interesting and emotionally compelling. Now we're going to be going into what could be considered, or just straight up is, spoiler territory. So if you do not want to be spoiled, this is your fair warning. Leave the video now if you don't want to hear about any potential leaks, spoilers, plot details. Okay, that's it. You've all been warned. The synopsis of the movie goes as follows. Avatar Aang, the world's last airbender, learns of an ancient power that could save his culture from extinction. With the help of his friends, he embarks on a global quest to find it before it falls into the wrong hands. Previous leaks for this movie are starting to line up perfectly. If you guys remember, Appa Comics, a large Spanish Avatar YouTuber, claimed to have been sent images and the plot of the movie. He revealed things in two ways. One, through clues like, what is he, the Riddler or something? And two, by just straight up telling us. I don't know how he makes that distinction, but he did it. He also told us what the villain would look like and what kind of powers he would possess. He said the villain would have a similar build to Xylus from League of Legends, which we can now see, yeah, that's fairly accurate. He said the villain was an airbender with air nomad tattoos, which we can now also confirm is true. He even gave us a riddle to solve for the villain's name, which ended up being Taga. And now a recent Funko Pop listing for the movie includes a character with the same exact name. So you can already see how everything is slowly lining up and coming together. Appa Comics also said that there was going to be this staff with mystical powers that would come into play, belonging to a past avatar, and at some point the villain would wield it. While the staff hasn't been officially confirmed yet, we do technically have the newly revealed avatar confirmed. An official novelization listing for the movie has gone up, and it mentions in its description bonus material about a newly revealed brand new avatar. He also told us it was going to be a new location revealed, describing it as something similar to Machu Picchu with Hindu elements. And as you can see in the first look of the movie, yeah, if you look at the background there, that also checks out. The going theory among the people, quote unquote, in the know, so like 4 people who actually keep track of this stuff, pretty much goes as follows. Taga is going to enter Aang's life somehow. Who knows, maybe they find him frozen in a block of ice or something stupid. But the key point is, when we meet him, he won't be the villain, or at least he won't reveal himself as the villain. He's going to be a friendly, familiar face for Aang. The reasoning behind this is because the official marketing material for this movie shows this guy as a part of Team Avatar, with the merch listings even calling this Team Aang. I mean, of course, look at him, he's chilling. He doesn't look evil at all. He looks like he belongs there. So he enters Aang's life as a friend, someone Aang can naturally trust because of the background they share, and because of the way Aang views the air nomads. And naturally, Aang is meeting another airbender for the first time in 112 years. He has to tell them what happened to their people, right? People think that after Taga learns what happens to the air nomads, that he uses this information to manipulate Aang. Remember, the official plot says Aang learns of an ancient power that could save his people. What if Taga is the one who tells him about that power? To Aang, this power sounds like hope. He can finally bring his people back. But to everyone else on Team Avatar, it sounds a little too good to be true, and they know something is off. They know there has to be more to this. And because this information is coming from another airbender, and this issue is so close to Aang's heart, he just might actually side with the villain over his own team. The rest of the theory is basically connecting to what little information we have. The new location we've seen is probably where they'll find the ancient power, and when they finally get there, they find the staff. That's when Taga will finally reveal his true colors. The big fight happens, the power struggle, the emotional conflict, the hard choice Aang may or may not have to make, and then, of course, the resolution. I think that is a really solid outline of what we can expect, but again, this is all based off of information that we currently have. A lot of people are asking why this guy isn't mentioned anywhere in The Legend of Korra. You would think a threat so big it took prime Team Avatar defeat. Surely that would be worth mentioning, right? Well, aside from the obvious real-life answer, you know, they just hadn't thought of it yet, I think there's actually a pretty reasonable in-universe explanation. Again, Aang is not only the last airbender again, but he's also on the verge of starting a family, which will most likely include another airbender. The last thing he and his family needs is another target on their back. If the world found out there was this evil ancient airbender threatening the entire world's safety, that would create some serious consequences. We're only about 12 years removed from the war, and who knows what kind of Fire Nation propaganda brainwashing is still out there. You never know what kind of fear or ideas people would come up with after hearing something like that. I think it makes sense for Aang to keep this whole thing under wraps, protecting both himself and his future family from unnecessary danger. Anyway, comment down below what you guys thought of all of this. I woke up one morning and I just started writing my script, and I haven't really checked over this. I just kind of wanted to, you know, freeform my thoughts, get it out there into the world and see what you guys thought. So please comment down below what you think of all of this. I'm going to be reading every single comment. So seriously, go do that. All right, subscribe if you're new, and I'm out.